Good morning. Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Free Press Media Press Inc., an alternative parties books publisher, sponsors this podcast. I'm Andrew Bouchard.
Welcome to the Long Live Alternative Parties podcast. Today, friends, we have another exciting guest on our podcast. His name is Michael. He represents a certain alternative party, and he's running for a certain race. So, friends, we're going to find out exactly what that party is and what race he's running for in a moment. So, welcome to the podcast, Michael.
Thank you, Andrew. It's an honor and a pleasure to be here.
We're glad to have you, Michael. If we could get started by you kindly giving us an introduction to yourself, a brief biographical sketch.
Well, hello. My name is Michael Dublin. I am a lifelong resident of North Carolina, basically Raleigh and Garner. So I am running for Congressional District 2 for the U.S. House of Representatives. I am a candidate for the North Carolina Green Party.
Awesome.
So I'm a teacher in middle school. I've taught for a couple of decades here in the area. And lifelong learner, husband, father, grandfather, and someone who's always been aware politically, even though this is my first foray into running for office.
Excellent. So, given that you're a teacher, how does your profession inform your politics?
I think my politics came first because I was raised in a household with a strong Democrat-led household. My grandmother was always actively involved and made sure that we were involved with things like the NAACP and organizations like that.
Okay.
And so I think that, led me into the teaching field because, I've always been one that's, first of all, I love to learn, but I also like to teach and to help others. I mean, there was a call. There was a call for, more male teachers in the public school system, and I saw that, my politics, my belief in being of service and helping others led me to answer that call and to go into the field of education.
Okay, sounds good. So how about the Green Party? Since you came from a Democratic background, what led you to the Green Party?
Many years ago, I along with many other people, became disillusioned with specifically for me, in my case, the Democratic Party. I'm obviously African American from the South, so this is, growing up, the Democrats were like, they had a strong hold in the African American community, and I got to the point where I believed that they were, really taking us for granted and leaving the working people behind as, they start to become more corporate. Start to, move more to the right. I mean, look at what's happening now, as far as, the military campaigns and the amount of money we're spending around the globe. And
Sure.
It's disappointing. But I started to see that many years ago. There were things that were happening even in the early 2000s that was really bothering me. And but at that time, even though I still was registered Democrat, because, as I said, my grandmother was very instrumental in getting us involved in politics, and I didn't have the heart to tell her, like, Grandma, some of this stuff the Democrats are doing, I'm just not with anymore. So, yeah, eventually I did just become an unaffiliated voter, and so that's how I came to leave the Democrats. Now, to answer your question, why the Green Party? When it came time for me to, get more involved with politics, because I was one of those people that came so disillusioned, Andrew, that I kind of just given up.
No.
Said, whatever happens, happens, But then I was, convicted and wanted to get more back involved, and I started looking around. I did not want to, go back to the Democrats, and looked at the different party platforms, especially the independent parties, and because I was already knowledgeable about Republicans and Democrats, but just to find out more, and I found out the things that I have believed all my life, I fit in right there with the Green Party. I've always been involved.
Okay.
Yeah, I've always been involved with the environmental causes. I've always been involved for, social justice and marching for that. I've always believed that people should have health care and real health care, not junk health care. And even from the time I was a child and learned about our society, and when I found out that everybody didn't have health care, and it shocked me. It's like, wow. When I knew that we were a country that could afford that. I mean, I was really shocked and amazed that we treat our citizens like that, when we definitely had the resources to do it. So the Green Party, once I started looking around, was just a natural fit for me.
All right. So for your race this election cycle, what are the issues of your platform?
Well, as I stated before, when my universal health care, single payer health care, livable, respectable wages. I believe the workers, and that's why I support the unions. And I say not minimum wage, because I don't believe there are minimum people. So definitely support that. Stopping this war machine. I mean, all these trillions of dollars we spend, and now I don't mean not taking care of the troops. Now we want to take care of our, the people who that have served. They're your blood and bone people who need health care too. But this stuff about this imperialism around the planet, spending trillions of dollars, and of course the hot topic, but the most pressing need right now is to, get this ceasefire in Palestine, and let's start with the murder and the killing that our tax dollars have helped to pay for.
Yep.
And and so I know I said it's a hot topic now, but it's been a topic before. In fact, when I said I was disillusioned with the Democrats in the early 2000s, that's because they Gaza got bombed back in the early 2000s, and we had a Democratic president right back then, and I was like, well, what the heck, and that was something that really bothered me even back then. It's like, well, what's going on where we're taking part in this and supporting this?
Yeah. So what would you recommend that our nation do in regards to this issue? Withdraw completely from Israel's alliance, or how should we handle it?
We're definitely, the BDS movement, where we, boycott and divest from supporting the things that Israel's doing right now. I mean, even before the recent events, Amnesty International did a thorough report saying that, Israel is an apartheid state.
Wow.
And so, yeah, we definitely need to divest the BDS movement, sanctions, definitely sanctions, and to boycott. And that's what we as, our citizens, and we should demand that our government do that. This is my opinion. I agree that we should demand that our government do that, because it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
I mean, the international community is crying out. They're saying, hey, why is it that we stood against apartheid when it was in South Africa, but now we're saying that, they're our allies. so we have to support them. And I think the numbers in our society show that most citizens in this country, don't agree with continuing to support that.
That's good. That's reassuring.
Yeah. All right.
So, for your campaign, what does it take for you to get on the ballot for ballot access?
Well, I'm on the ballot. I'm free and
You're
clear.
an idiot. Okay,
I'm
good.
free and clear. In North Carolina, the Green Party has ballot access.
Oh, good. Okay.
So I don't know if you followed the struggle that we had last year, the last cycle, as far as getting on the ballot, because we had to get a certain amount of signatures, which we got well and above the amount of signatures needed.
Okay.
There was a big struggle with us getting our candidate in the Senate, Matthew Holt. So the Democrats, who they threaten people, they call people, all this is documented. And so they weren't successful in keeping us off the ballot. They were successful in delaying the process so that to the point we actually got on the ballot. We only had 3 months to campaign. So I guess they won in that regard. But for this cycle, we've already got ballot access, so we have our candidates on the ballot.
Oh, good. So one less worry.
What was your question?
I said that's good. One less worry for you.
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's a big struggle we hear about all the time with our candidates we interview is jumping that hurdle. So it's good that you jumped it.
Yeah, and I would say that for me, I'm blessed. Like I said, the previous cycle, those candidates didn't get a full cycle. So at least this time around, we get more time. Like I said, we're free and clear. I don't have to participate in the primaries because there's no other Green Party candidate vying for this position of
Okay.
U.S. House District 2.
That's good. So what's your strategy for reaching the voters?
Well, one of the there's a couple of ways. We have a meet and greet, and we publicize this
Okay.
through the coalitions that we work with around the Raleigh and Garner area. So we reached out to them. We have obviously done the basic stuff like calling and email blast to our Green Party members. And I guess, this is 2024, so the big thing is social media and having a social media presence. And so that's going to reach a lot of people that we, can't reach by going and meeting them physically. So the social media is starting, is building. We're building something on that. And the plan is to get out there. We do go to many. We support our like-minded organizations in their rallies and things of that nature. And we will have our own events. So we're going to have a series of events as well.
Sure. So it sounds like you're talking about we a lot here. It sounds like you have a nice team helping you out.
Yes, and that's the great thing about it is that we have people that believe that we can do better than the two-party duopoly system that we have.
Yeah.
And so I'm amazed at the people who are, because we're not talking about rich people. We're talking about average American citizens who have jobs and children and they're committing time to this. Now, obviously, we're always looking for more volunteers because, as you know, we won't have the $3 million war chest or where we can pay $100,000 to a political consultant. We don't have the I call them, we don't have the political interest groups,
Oh.
supporting us and basically, for the candidates of the large corporate parties, they're beholden to those large investors. I talked to someone the other day, a very important person in my life, who said that, these candidates, when they get in office, before they get in office, they promise the world. But then when they get in, they only spend like 3% of their time to help the people, the real people, because they have to spend the rest of their time, placating those big-time donors and, the parties. And that's why, these corporate politicians, when you listen to them, they pretty much all say the same thing because they're mouthpieces for the
Sure.
The big corporations. And so I'm pretty sure you know that. Most presidents do as well.
Yeah, we're very familiar with that. We hear about it all the time, and then we experience it firsthand. So sure.
Yeah, for sure. We got to. I think we have to continue to not lose hope. And as I said, man, there was a time period where I just kind of like forget about it, but I'm back.
Oh, that's good.
Back. Yeah.
How'd you get back? What'd you do to regain your focus and your purpose?
Well, and that's a great question. I don't know if it's a specific thing, but in my years of teaching and trying to encourage people, to get involved. So I teach this stuff. It's not, it's part of our curriculum to teach government. So the basics I teach, and I encourage the kids. I'm like, guys, when you become adults, hopefully you'll be involved. And I talk to my family members and co-workers and friends. I'm like, yes, we need to get involved. So I've always been that person that can say, yeah, this is what's going on. This is how we can get involved. And I'm that person that people ask questions to. So I don't know, Andrew. At some point, it just came to me where I'm encouraging people to get involved and to run for office and to be leaders. And then it's like it just dawned on me that maybe it's my time to actually step out and practice what I preach.
There you go.
And to do it. And I'm also gonna blame my son. We were out jogging one day, and he asked me. He said, "Pops, what you gonna do when we leave teaching? Something easy or something hard?" And it sounds like a simple question, but it is kind of profound when I thought about it. And it just I knew that teaching wasn't gonna be the end for me. It's not like I was just gonna ride off into the sunset.
Sure.
But that there was more work to be done, and I just feel like this is the direction that I've been, guided into. That, and I struggle with this too, with religion and politics. For the longest time, I was like, well, you can't really mix them. That's what I'm thinking about it. On a personal level, you can't mix them, obviously. Well, let me say this straight, because we don't live in a theocracy. So, but as far as individuals, as far as me and my belief in God, that I should be doing something to make things better. That I should be doing things to make things better and serve other people. Then that led me into like, okay, I can't give up. What am I doing saying that I've lost hope in the system because it looks hard, because it looks difficult, because it looks impossible to change? If I say that, then what good am I? No, I have to get in there. I have to say, yes, we can change this. Yeah, it looks bad now. It looks like we cannot defeat this massive opposition we have that we call a duopoly, but we can. So that's what changed me. Saying, hey, wake up. Wake up, Michael. Okay? You got to get in here and continue this struggle.
Perfect. That's a good call to action.
Right. Yes.
So earlier you said you can always use volunteers. Is that the best way for people to support your campaign, or are there other ways people can support your campaign?
Yeah, well, volunteers, and I might be a bad politician if I don't ask for a lot of money. It's one of these things where, there's people that I know that are still, like, involved with Republicans and Democrats. They tell me, they say, Mike, it's impossible for you to win. They say, you don't have the resources. It's just impossible. So, and I'm not one to go out and spend, ask people to, to spend, $1,000 to buy a dinner plate to come meet me. So, I don't know, so volunteering, but definitely we need funds. So donations, even though I'm not the best at asking for money, but definitely volunteering and donations.
Okay. So if they want to do that, is your campaign website the best place for them to go?
Yes, the campaign website will be the best way to go.
All right. And kindly tell our audience what that address is.
/Michael Dublin.
All right.
Now, if they can't remember all that, they can go to Dublin 4, the number 4, Congress.org, which will take them to the same site, but they will have to click an extra button.
Okay.
So, but it's easy to remember, but it's one extra step.
Okay. All right. I plan to get those in the show notes.
Hey, that's massively appreciated.
Sure thing. Michael, we thank you for coming on the podcast today and talking about your campaign. It sounds like you got a good thing going.
Thank you, Andrew, and thank you for the encouragement, and I appreciate the work that you're doing.
That's nice of you to say.
All right. Y'all have a good evening.
All right. Take care and all the best.
All right.